This video is brought to you by Incognito, the comprehensive online personal information removal service that shields your data and personal details from data brokers and search platforms. Click my link below to secure 60% off Incognito's yearly subscription. Picture this. It's Tuesday, December 1st, 1970. Television screens across Britain flicker to life as Monty Python's Flying Circus delivers its 12th episode of the second season. The episode bears a simple yet prophetic title, Spam. Within this episode lies a sketch that would unknowingly reshape how we understand digital communication decades later. The scene unfolds in a peculiar cafe, where a married couple, lowered by theatrical wires, finds themselves surrounded by a chorus of Vikings. As they settle into their seats, the waitress cheerfully presents the day's offerings. But here's the twist. Every single menu item contains spam, the processed canned meat. Some dishes feature spam alongside multiple additional servings of spam. Others are simply described as spam, 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 egg, and spam. When the female customer politely expresses her distaste for spam and requests something without it, the waitress flatly refuses. Suddenly, the Viking patrons burst into their now famous chant, Spam, spam, lovely spam, wonderful spam. The scene deteriorates into beautiful chaos as the Vikings' chorus grows louder. The waitress joins in with increasing fervor, and all meaningful conversation drowns beneath an ocean of spam-focused noise. The sketch concludes with our unfortunate customer presumably leaving hungry, her simple request for a spam-free meal denied. This comedic moment, completely unrelated to technology or digital communication, would prove to be an eerie prophecy of our internet age. The sketch directly inspired the term spam, as we know it in digital contexts, referring to excessive, irrelevant, unwanted, insincere, or repetitive communication and content. The connection emerged during the 1980s in primitive online chat rooms, message boards, and virtual gaming environments. Users discovered they could flood screens with repeated instances of spam and other Monty Python quotes, effectively pushing unwanted users' text off-screen and controlling the conversation flow. Simultaneously, the term began describing the excessive posting of identical messages across file sharing and message networks. The metaphor proves even more apt when we consider that spam, the actual meat product, represents everything wrong with processed food, artificially enhanced, nutritionally void, packed with sodium and preservatives, and designed for mass consumption rather than nourishment. Since those early digital days, media and internet landscapes have transformed beyond recognition. Between 1980 Monty 1 and 1980 Mine, internet-connected hosts exploded from mere hundreds to hundreds of thousands, with the year 1980 Mine alone witnessing growth from 80,000 to over 160,000 hosts. That same pivotal year brought us the World Wide Web, suddenly making digital content accessible and shareable for everyday consumers. By the mid-90s, over 100,000 websites existed online. Approximately 40% of American households owned computers, a dramatic leap from just 15% a few years earlier. For the first time in human history, individuals could effortlessly message people across continents, publish and share their creative works and homemade videos, establish digital profiles and online storefronts, purchase and download entertainment like movies and books, order physical goods for home delivery, and engage in countless other revolutionary activities. Fast-forward to 2024, roughly 70% of the global population, approximately 5 billion people, now owns a smartphone. We estimate over 1 billion websites currently exist, and the average person spends approximately 6 hours and 30-5 minutes online daily. The internet and internet-enabled devices have completely integrated into human existence, making online conditions critically important to our collective human experience. Naturally, alongside opportunities for distributing enriching content, came new avenues for spreading problematic and hazardous material. This includes spam and spam-adjacent media, everything from unwanted emails to digital content that unreasonably exploits platform algorithms, automation, or excessive posting tactics, often solely pursuing views and engagement. The spam problem might initially seem relatively minor compared to darker internet possibilities. However, the increasing prevalence and sophistication of spam miners like media reveals a profound systemic issue regarding current internet architecture and humanity's digital future. Today's internet doesn't merely feature spam on the menu increasingly resembles that fictional Monty Python cafe. Nearly every available option contains some form of spam, and worse, our digital palates seem increasingly adapted to crave this processed content. We're developing preferences for quicker, easier, more processed material that demands less intellectual or emotional investment. We're increasingly willing to ignore the true intentions and consequences behind the content we consume. Inspired and led by engagement, Mintermuse-focused algorithms, herds of creator Mintermuse forge time, while audiences eagerly welcome this digital pillaging. Recently, a theory about internet evolution has gained significant attention, particularly following mainstream adoption of generative artificial intelligence. This concept, known as the dead internet theory, primarily traces back to an anonymous thread posted in 2021 on the Agora Rhodes Macintosh Cafe forum. While its origins and conspiratorial elements remain questionable, the broader sentiment feels increasingly valid. Setting aside paranoid conspiracy claims, the theory broadly suggests that most online activity now consists of artificial engagement, bot activity, or AI-generated content, created and curated by algorithms. According to this perspective, the internet as a source of genuine human activity and flourishing died somewhere around 2016. Interestingly, that exact year, cybersecurity company Imperva discovered that bots, software applications performing automated tasks without human intervention, accounted for over half of all online activity. They found approximately 30% of website visits likely originated from malicious bots designed for harmful actions like theft and hacking. The remaining 20% consisted of beneficial bots helping monitor and maintain internet infrastructure. These statistics date back nearly 10 years. We can reasonably assume these percentages have increased substantially since then. While these figures encompass the entire internet across all corners and applications, they don't necessarily mean the majority of content and websites you personally engage with are artificial, assuming you maintain reasonably well-curated, stable browsing habits. The crucial point remains, regardless of your identity, digital savviness, or online activities, avoiding fake content and artificial traffic proves impossible. Even more significantly, avoiding spam-like content is certainly impossible. This year, Jack Conte, founder and CEO of creator monetization platform Patreon, delivered a keynote at South by Southwest titled "Death of the Follow and the Future of Creativity on the Web." His presentation focused primarily on algorithmic feeds development and effects on social media and content distribution platforms. Conte's central argument centers on major platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, shifting primarily toward algorithmic ranking-based content distribution feeds and away from follow-based systems. Internet content now gets distributed based on computer algorithms ranking material using engagement metrics like watch time, rather than people selectively and intentionally curating their feeds based on subscriptions and follows. According to Conte, this transformation has increasingly separated content creators from their audiences. In his words, "The follow is not some handy feature of a social network. The follow is foundational architecture for human creativity and organization." With follows becoming less central to content distribution, creators increasingly must create for algorithms rather than clear audiences or fan bases. Conte explains, "For the first time since Web 2.0, my followers might not necessarily see my posts, and the idea of a subscription started to break down. If a person doesn't receive the thing I make, it's not really a direct, true connection between a creator and their fans. It's not really a subscription. The channel of distribution is broken. This creates additional creative freedom problems. Now suddenly, my post has to be better than other posts, according to criteria I don't know, control, or even agree with. Instead of thinking, what do I want to make? What lights me up? What output do I want to create as an artist? What will my fans love? Instead of considering those questions, now in my mind I'm thinking, what will the ranking algorithm favor? That subconsciously or consciously changes my creative output to achieve the platform's goals, not my goals as a creator. Most social media platforms' primary objective involves generating profit. Their main profit mechanism relies on advertising revenue. Their primary method for generating, sustaining, and growing ad revenue involves attracting maximum users to platforms and keeping them engaged as long as possible. At major social media platform scales, algorithmic ranking feeds seem most effective for achieving these goals. Consequently, algorithms have increasingly assumed control over what we see and the direction of online media and content development. These algorithms lead us with no clear benefit aim for individuals or broader culture. The cause and end game remain purely profitability. Midas-focused algorithms aren't inherently problematic and could provide excellent opportunities for creator and consumer discoverability. Furthermore, pursuing watch time and algorithmic success isn't always inherently negative, as it can help improve one's work. However, a major problem emerges under these conditions. Media and content that prospers often consists of either outright spam or Midas-flavored material. To appease algorithms and forge or maintain careers and social relevance, creators might alter their content format, category, or topics from their primary interests toward popular, Midas-friendly approaches. This frequently leads to blatant copying, repetitiveness, redundancy, oversimplification, carelessness, or excessively frequent posting. Without these adaptations, creators risk algorithmic oversight and audience loss beyond their core following. These issues of artificial traffic, algorithmic disconnection, and spam media have only intensified with generative AI's introduction and mainstream adoption. AI models can now message humans in chats, communicate with other AI systems, create digital art and video content, establish and manage digital profiles and storefronts, determine and execute purchases and economic decisions, plus countless other revolutionary capabilities. The crucial difference: humans are increasingly less involved. Hence, the internet, at least as it once existed, has died. In its place, a new internet form is emerging. What this evolution will ultimately become, how it will feel, what benefits and harm it might generate, remains unknown. What appears certain: AI will continue improving, while disconnection, artificiality, and spam-like media problems will worsen. Generative AI isn't entirely negative. Countless excellent current and foreseeable applications exist. However, without careful consideration, our digital diets will continue becoming increasingly unhealthy. It will grow harder to hear and comprehend anything meaningful, to want to engage with substantive content, to find and obtain what we actually desire. Hope isn't lost. Hopefully, reasonable AI and internet media regulations will emerge. New technologies might help mitigate existing and emerging problems while effectively executing sensible policies and cultural expectations. Historical precedent suggests these possibilities exist. However, history also shows that regulations and new technologies designed to restrain bad actors and harmful technologies consistently lag behind the people and systems they aim to control. Perhaps, at least for now, responsibility falls to us, creators and consumers of content, platform founders and users. There's a famous saying that we become the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. A contemporary update might suggest we become the average of the 5 creators and 5 content categories we spend the most time consuming online. Now and moving forward, decisions about our internet engagement and activities will prove as crucial as decisions regarding friends and associates. While media consumption choices have always mattered, crucial exists on a spectrum, and now it ranks extremely high. Ultimately, who cares whether the dead internet theory proves accurate? Who cares if the old internet has died? What matters is whether we can sustain what truly matters through new methods in our evolving technological world conditions. What matters is what matters to us, our humanity at its truest, deepest levels. As humans, we want to create, communicate, and connect with each other without barriers or limitations. We want reasonably healthy, sustainable relationships with others, ourselves, and world networks, both physical and digital. We want honesty, genuineness, symbiosis, and prosperity. The internet remains and can continue being a place where these ideals flourish. Spam cafes will always exist, spam will likely appear on most menus, and most of us will occasionally indulge. But like everything else, with discipline, hope and effort, we can maintain healthy digital diets. We can still build beautiful online restaurants, eateries, and communities with minimal spam offerings. We can still share meaningful digital meals together. In Jack Conte's words, the hardest lesson I've learned as a creative person and as an operator and CEO over the last 10 years is to know and trust what I want, and to remain true to that over time. It's easier said than done, but don't let somebody else tell you what you want, because then you'll end up with what they want, instead of what you want. On a more directly hazardous level, one problem area where spam inevitably affects everyone involves junk emails, robocalls, texts, physical mail, and similar intrusions. This spam variety isn't merely annoying and unpalatable, it can prove genuinely dangerous. It can lead not only to relentless junk communication, but also to unknown parties accessing sensitive personal information, potentially resulting in identity theft, scams, stalking, or harassment. That's why this video's sponsor, Incognito, a personal information removal service, represents such an excellent match for this content, and provides such valuable service generally. Widespread unsolicited, repeated junk communication exists because of entities called data brokers. Without your knowledge or permission, every purchase or form completion involving your information, name, social security number, login credentials, home address, and more, can be collected and sold to third parties. Hundreds of data brokers and people mitre search sites generate substantial profits through these practices. They harvest and collect your data, not to sell products to you, but to sell you to others. In recent years, I've personally noticed dramatic increases in scam-like texts and an email inbox that's nearly impossible to navigate effectively. The good news, legally, you possess the right to stop this practice and have all your information removed from these sites. The bad news, accomplishing this independently proves essentially impossible. The better news, Incognito makes this not only possible, but effortless. Simply complete a brief sign-up process, granting Incognito permission to work on your behalf. They immediately locate and contact these brokers and sites to secure your information removal, since one-time removal might not provide permanent protection or proceed smoothly. Incognito's annual plan continues automatically following up to ensure your information not only gets removed, but stays removed. You can track Incognito's progress directly through their dashboard, watching these companies lose access to your data. Click my link in the description, or visit incognito.com/pursuitofwonder to secure 60% off Incognito's annual plan. As always, thank you tremendously for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.